What's going on, everybody? Welcome to TPUSA Live. I'm Jon Root, sitting next to him.
Alex Clark, host of The Spillover and POPlitics with Turning Point USA.
We have a great live stream for you today, but before we break all that stuff down and tell you a little bit about Kyrie Irving, I'm going to tell you what's going on there, too, if you're not up to speed.
Yeah, I know that Kyrie Irving is a famous sports player, but I don't know even what sport.
Yeah, he plays for the Brooklyn Nets. He's the point guard for them. He's pushing back on the vaccine mandates in New York. It's pretty incredible. So I'll break that down for you and you. But coming up next, we got Human Events Daily with Jack Posobiec, the guy with the best sources, the best connections, and some of the best news you'll find anywhere. Yeah. So he's going to break down things like Vice President Kamala Harris. She actually hired some advisors because people don't seem to like her, and her poll numbers aren't looking good.
Yeah, and I don't think those people are even really working out that well, so she should probably fire them.
And then also President Biden's address about the massive supply chain disaster. He'll break that down. We talked about that on TPUSA Live on the couch yesterday, but you'll get a comprehensive breakdown from Jack Posobiec. Also, President Biden's poll numbers are plummeting.
Yeah, imagine that.
Yeah, shocking, right? Who would have thought? And then also, he's going to touch on so much more, including Joe Rogan confronting CNN's Sanjay Gupta over ivermectin.
Dude, I watched that and my mind was blown. Absolutely incredible. That CNN host tried to kind of, divert the conversation, and Joe kept at him and asked him, why does CNN lie about me? It's so good.
No one does it like Joe Rogan.
Nobody.
You love it. He shut him down. It's going to be great. So Jack Posobiec and Human Events Daily is going to break all that stuff down right after. I'm going to sit on this couch with some incredible guests, like we got canceled Louisiana public school teacher Jonathan Koeppel. He's going to be back. He had some outrageous, funny comments yesterday, so I can't wait for more of that. We also got host of Freedom Papers, Morgan Zegers, and we also got the host of On the Front Lines, Isabel Brown.
My faves. I love them. And they're actually going to be talking about On the Couch today, on the Couch Show, as I like to call it, immigration. I guess there's reports that the Biden administration has allowed over 160,000 illegal immigrants into the United States. 160,000.
Yeah, some shocking documents we're going to share on the couch today with our incredible guests. Also, we got another segment called Law or Nah.
Law or Nah.
And then also we got School Board Watch List. There is some crazy stories coming out of Loudoun County School District. Parents have been arrested, they're pushing back, and there's a lot of parents doing a lot of work to make sure CRT's not in school, make sure they're protecting their students. It's been incredible work.
Yeah, that district is off the charts insane.
And then right after that, we got some weekly shows. We got a Real America Rewind with Graham Allen. He's going to talk about some of the most hilarious moments from Real America, like cringe leftists breaking down over the Texas bill and deciding to have a sex strike.
I love that these blue-haired theys still think people want to have sex with them. Isn't that amazing?
Yeah, I don't think it's helping their case at all. And then also President Biden's incessant blunders of building back better. I can't wait for that with Graham Allen.
He's the funniest. I absolutely love Graham.
And then right after that, there is a brand new episode of Benny on the Block, which probably should be called Benny on the Border, because I guess this is part 3 of his Benny on the Border.
Yeah, they're getting into human trafficking and stuff at the border, so that's going to be very, very interesting. Some conservative, as I like to call it.
We're breaking down a lot of immigration today, not only on the couch, but Benny on the Border there. It is absolutely insane stuff. The border wall is not done. There's human trafficking. Cartels are finding their way into the United States. It's scary stuff, and then Benny's going to break it down in some incredible ways. Also, right after that, we got POPlitics.
We do. So I don't know if you saw this, but the Grammys, the Recording Academy, actually told Casey Musgraves that her new album, Star-Crossed, is not eligible to be in the country category. They said she can only be in the pop category. So this is very interesting, a huge controversy in the country music world, which I'm not even a country music fan, but I'm defending her and I'm calling out country music. So that's going to be pretty juicy in POPlitics today. Also, there is some Bravo drama if you're a Bravo-servative.
I'm not.
I'm not either. I actually do not watch Bravo shows, so this was so juicy that I even had to get into it. We're also talking about the new Home Alone movie. That's another remake that's coming. It's called Home Sweet Home Alone. So that's happening. And then Pop Culture Rewind, which is my favorite weekly segment, where I go back and tell you what happened this week in pop culture history.
So make sure you check that out. And before we let you go, Kyrie Irving, he plays for the Brooklyn Nets. He's the point guard there, and he's pushing back on the vaccine mandates for the city of New York. So there was a player on the Golden State Warriors that was pushing back on San Francisco's vaccine mandates, Andrew Wiggins, but he basically bent the knee. He got the vaccine, but Kyrie Irving is standing strong, and I think he's doing more for Americans sports than really any other celebrity has. So hashtag hold the line, Kyrie.
Hold the line.
Let's go. You love to see it. We have a great show today. Awesome live stream. Coming up next, we got Human Events Daily with Jack Posobiec. We'll see you a little bit later.
You have to ask the question, how is the most heavily funded tribe have the poorest population?
Listen to me. My country is very because everything problem here. Don't have petroleum for bus and Cuban, for car, for life, for nothing.
And it sucks. Socialism sucks. There's no other way you can describe it.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome aboard today's edition, Human Events Daily. Absolutely massive show today. First, a retiring soldier is forced to take the vaccine or face court-martial. Next, Shade War update, Human Events Daily exclusive. Kamala Harris is seeking vice presidential picks and new cabinet members. Third, Biden addresses the massive supply chain disruption that's happening on his watch. And finally, we got to talk about it. Joe Rogan confronted Sanjay Gupta about CNN's lies. All this and more ahead, Human Events Daily. All right, now before we get into this audio, which is absolutely shocking, this is leaked audio, Human Events Daily is going to be posting it. It comes from Terminal CWO, Chief Warrant Officer, a fantastic account, Instagram, Twitter. Please go follow him. I need to explain a few terms. Medical separation, medical retirement, ETS, and then chapter separation. These are all military terms because what we have is leaked audio between a soldier in the US military, particularly the US Army. We're told it comes from the 10th Mountain Division. She is talking to her doctor and she's 6 days away from taking leave. That's her accrued amount of leave time that she has up before she medically retires because of a medical issue. She says she doesn't want to take the jab because she knows she only has 6 days left and then she's going to be done. She's going to be leaving the military through medical separation, medical retirement. ETS, end of time in service. The doctor follows up and says, if you refuse to take it, we will not give you a medical waiver, but you can apply, maybe, for an administrative waiver. But if you don't receive that, you will face a court-martial board and you will receive chapter separation, which is an other than honorable discharge for a soldier who spent her entire career serving honorably. Listen to this damning audio.
6 days left.
Yes.
So I see you're a 26-year-old healthy female, and so if you would have said
Healthy-ish.
No, you are, so I understand endometriosis sucks. But what I'm saying is, if we were civilians and you said, doctor, do you think it's reasonable for me to, not get the vaccine for a few months until I feel comfortable? I would say, yeah, that's reasonable. You're young and healthy. It's reasonable to wait a few months until you feel more comfortable. The Army doesn't allow me to do that though. So I recommend that you submit a administrative waiver, because I can't grant you a medical waiver unless you have a specific medical condition, such as severe allergic reaction to the first shot, unfortunately.
Okay, no problem.
And so I recommend that you submit that exemption to you tell your commander that you want to submit an administrative exemption, which can be religious or non-religious, today.
Okay.
Or you get the shot today. Or otherwise, come Monday, flag, GOMAR, and then no ETS. They keep you to December, and then chapter separate. So this is my recommendation. So get administrative waiver, try that route, and if it fails, shot.
Okay, like I'm leaving to go home in 6 days, so how am I going to be contacted if something were to happen with that waiver process?
It would be up to your commander. Your commander would be the one to notify you whether waiver is approved, disapproved, whether you're flagged. You still get to take leave when you're flagged, but you don't ETS when you're flagged.
I'm not ETSing though. I'm a medical retiree.
Yeah, so that wouldn't happen either then. So what would happen is your MED would be tabled, and you'd go through the chapter process, and then after the chapter process had concluded, it would go before the General Court Martial Convening Authority, General Doyle, and he would make the determination which of the two he'll allow you to separate the Army with, MED or chapter. And a lot of the folks that have both leave with the chapter. So I really recommend applying for administrative waiver today or getting the shot, just because like you're so close to being done. I hate it when good people get punished.
Yeah, it's a bummer, isn't it?
Yeah. Sorry.
This is what's going on inside your U.S. military. A soldier who served her country honorably and then is faced with a medical issue is being told that she has to take this when she already has a pre-existing condition, or her service will be rendered other than honorable. And this is happening, we're told, across the military. More audio is coming. So listen to Human Events Daily every day, because we're gonna cover every single second of it. All right, now before we get into the next segment, I want to remind everyone the show is powered by Turning Point USA. Go to TPUSA.com, get your tickets for AmericaFest. Folks, this thing is selling out fast. There are at least 10,000 seats available. This thing is going to be absolutely amazing. Best speakers in all of conservatism, in America, everything that's going on, plus the top country acts. And by the way, I keep asking everybody, I said, guys, can I announce who's going to be coming? Can I announce who's playing? Can I announce who's speaking? They said no. Well, I said, I'm going to be there. I'm going to say that. All right, I'm at least going to say that I'm going to be there. But you get a chance to meet me. But I'm telling you, the minute I'm able to we're able to announce who's going to be there, it's going to be a big deal. It's also going to trigger, we're going to get a lot of media attention off of this, because they are not going to be very happy once they hear who's going to be playing this thing. We are talking A+++ listers. But anyway, for now, mark down your calendars, mid-December, 18th, 21st, AmericaFest, Phoenix, Arizona. Let's get to the next story. Kamala Harris. It has been a while since we've talked about Kamala Harris, but she's released a new video where she's sitting down with kids. Oh, wait, turns out they were child actors. Watch this.
I just love the idea of exploring the unknown. And then there's other things that we just haven't figured out or discovered yet. To think about so much that's out there that we still have to learn. Like, I love that. And so I'm very excited about the Space Council. We're going to learn so much as we increasingly, I think, are curious and interested in the potential for the discoveries and the work we can do in space. So that's one of the things I'm most excited about. But the other, you guys are going to see. You're going to literally see the craters on the moon with your own eyes. Oh, my goodness. With your own eyes, I'm telling you, it is going to be unbelievable.
Look, I told you that Kamala Harris had hired the strategic communications guy who turned out to be Jen Psaki's brother-in-law. And I told you that she was going to be putting out some stuff. I didn't tell you it was going to be any good, all right? I never made that promise. That's one of the most cringy things I've ever seen. And by the way, we're now hearing that Kamala Harris wants to kind of lean into this and make her the sort of the science queen of the White House. And this is something that she'll use when eventually, because we all know she wants to inherit the presidency, when Joe Biden goes the way of the Titanic, which is what they call him behind his back. So she wants to lean into this. She wants to do, like, they're talking about doing magic school bus kind of things, taking kids out to more science exhibits, et cetera, et cetera. But that's not the only thing she's doing. So, ladies and gentlemen, drum roll please, it's time for another Shade War update.
Shade War update.
We are now able to exclusively report that Kamala Harris has begun the process, informal process, but she has begun scanning the country and looking for something, not just something, but someone, a vice presidential pick. Kamala Harris is actively seeking a vice presidential pick right now. Now, the vetting process hasn't begun. They're not reaching out to anybody yet, but they are in discussions in the White House, in the vice president's office, talking about who she would like to pick. And we are told from a White House official that she is interested in picking another woman. And she's going to say that she was the first female vice president and she wants to continue to have a female vice president. So then you would have the first female president and the first female vice president, both of which no one ever voted for. This is what she wants to do. We're also told, by the way, that she is talking about replacing many members of the current cabinet, Biden's cabinet. She wants a lot of these top positions, Secretary of State, Secretary of Defense, of course, obviously, Secretary of Transportation, out, which is quite interesting, by the way, because I wasn't sure what the relationship was between her and Mayor Pete Buttigieg, but basically what it's come down to, and I think everyone can see, we'll talk about it in the next segment on the supply chains, that this guy is a complete failure. He's a hack. He always was a hack. He's from McKinsey. And so she wants to get rid of Buttigieg. She wants to bring in, by the way, she probably is going to pack the cabinet with a lot of senators, people that were on her side, but also wants to make sure that they're coming from states where they can backfill them with Democrats. So you have to look at a situation where, Arizona, there's 2 Democrat senators, but there's a Republican governor. Places like Georgia as well, 2 Democrat senators, but also you have a Republican governor. So you have to be careful where you pick from because that backfill would then be placed by you're going to have an appointment by a Republican governor, so she doesn't want that. Now, this all depends on the timing of when this happens because you have Arizona obviously has a governor's race coming up. Georgia will have a governor's race coming up. So it depends on who wins those races. If Stacey Abrams becomes governor of Georgia, then obviously Stacey Abrams is going to replace that with a Democrat. But all of this is causing tension between the vice president and the current members of the cabinet. The shade war is going to intensify in ways that you have not seen before. We are going to see an all-out, really, the shade war is going to go kinetic in the White House between Team Kamala, which is the team that's poised to inherit the presidency. That's what we're going to do. Selected, not elected. So you're going to have the first female president and potentially the first female vice president, of which neither were voted for by a single member of the American citizenry. Amazing. Stay tuned. Next segment coming up. America's supply chain is crumbling. It's not just a disruption. It is a devastation. Stores at Halloween time are going empty on the shelves. Can't get candy, can't get costumes. Obviously, this is a huge problem. It all lies at the feet of Joe Biden. He's putting people on welfare so they don't have to come to work. He's forcing vaccine mandates that people don't want, so they're resigning their jobs. You had 4 million people that quit their jobs over the summer. Understand, this is all being done by policy. It's all being done by policy. And now people are worried that their Christmas presents aren't going to be able to get here. Why? Because nothing is made in America anymore. However, if you go to mypillow.com and use promo code POSO for up to 66% off, all MyPillow products are made right here in the US of A. Support American workers and don't worry. about the supply chain backlog, because if you go to mypillow.com for your Christmas present, by the way, go now, literally go right now, because we know of the trucking situation that's going on. You gotta get your Christmas orders in now. Support American workers, support the work we do here on the podcast. Go and get the towels, by the way, the Bible pillows for the kids. It's amazing. They have Noah's Ark, they have Daniel in the lion's den, they have the nativity story. The nativity story is the first one that I gave to my son. He loves it, he absolutely loves it. But listen to Joe Biden now. And he gave this speech, this ridiculous speech yesterday. It's been completely panned. Barely anyone covered it. So I and my team here, the whole crew at HE Daily, we will cover the story for you, Joe Biden, because nobody covered your little speech. Okay, here we go.
After weeks of negotiation and working with my team and with the major union retailers and freight movers, the Port of Los Angeles announced today that it's going to begin operating 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. This follows the Port of Long Beach's commitment to 24/7 that it announced just weeks ago. 24/7 system, what most of the leading countries in the world already operate on now, except us, until now. This is the first key step toward moving our entire freight, transportation, and logistical supply chain nationwide to a 24/7 system.
Do you hear that? Do you hear what he's saying? No, first of all, by the way, we've got a whole article out of Long Beach Post News that says, are the Long Beach and Los Angeles ports operating 24/7 as Biden claims? Not quite. During the press conference in the East Room, Joe Biden announced they were going to move to 24/7 operations. Turns out the actual spokesman of the workers say it's a bit of a process. It's not an overnight thing. And by the way, this idea that they've been doing it for several weeks, wrong. There's one facility where several days they've moved to 24-hour operations, but it's not 24/7. It's only 4 days a week. It's Monday to Thursday. And also, they're having a problem finding the workers to take these shifts. Then the other thing that Joe Biden says, and this part is just amazing to me, he says, well, we're going to have the truckers, and the truckers, they're going to be driving at night. And we think that if they're driving at night and off rush hour, well, that'll happen. Really? That's amazing. You know, I've never actually seen a container truck at night before while I'm driving on the highway. You know, I come to think of it, you know, I travel at night, you know, frequently if I'm driving from point A to point B, if I'm trying to get somewhere. Yeah, I've never seen it. Do trucks not drive at night, Joe Biden? Is that actually something that you really thought, this guy, you know, last week we talked about how he didn't understand percentages, right? He was saying, oh, we have 99% vaccination rates now. Yeah, because you fired the people who weren't vaccinated or they left their jobs, right? Now he doesn't understand basic incentives. He doesn't understand trucking. He doesn't. By the way, here's a thought. Here's a thought, Joe. If you want to actually increase trucking, how about you do something about the gas prices? Do you think gas prices are potentially creating a little bit of a constraint on the trucking industry? If your diesel price goes down because you increase domestic supply and you actually bring us back to the energy independence that we had under the last guy, then guess what? Your truckers are going to be making more money. The incentives go up because they're able to get there for cheaper cost. All of this is marginal and it's based predominantly on the price of gas. You fool. Like, just talk to anybody who's actually in the industry. But, of course, it's not your job because you're a politician from Delaware. Corporate America's politician, Joe Biden. And now he's in office. You gotta love it. Just embrace it. Embrace it. You know, it's not so often that you see somebody from CNN step down from their perch and actually talk to someone in, you know, we used to call it independent media, but I might start having to call it real media. So they went from corporate media into real media. But CNN's Sanjay Gupta, he's the chief medical guy over at CNN, actually sat down and went in the ring with Joe Rogan. And he got absolutely bodied. Absolutely bodied. Now, I give him credit for going. I do give him credit for going. So good on you, Sanjay. Good on you. Listen to what happened when Joe Rogan confronted him over CNN's lies about Joe Rogan.
Do you think that's a problem, that your news network lies?
Well, I don't.
Dude.
I mean, what did they say?
They lied and said I was taking horse dewormer. First of all, it was prescribed to me by a doctor.
Yeah.
Along
they
with
shouldn't have said
a
it was
bunch
horse.
of other medications.
If you got a human pill because there were people that were taking it, the veterinary medication, and you're not, obviously. You got it from a doctor, so that it shouldn't be called that. Ivermectin can be a very effective medication for parasitic disease, and as you say, it's probably, I think, 250 million people have taken it around the world.
More,
I get that.
Way more.
So
way more. Billions of people have taken it.
Can I just come back to the one I want to talk about? Two things on
you
the
have
ledger.
You have, before we get to that, does it bother you that the news network you work for out and out lied, just outright lied about me taking horse dewormer?
They shouldn't have said that.
Why did they do that?
I don't know.
You didn't ask? You didn't think that was you're the medical guy over there.
I didn't ask. I should have asked before
But they
coming
did
on
it
your
with
podcast.
such glee.
Now, this is actually incredible, right? So Joe is sitting there going and asking basic questions about a specific grievance and a story that he was a part of that CNN simply lied about. They straight up lied about it, and it was a medical story. Meanwhile, Dr. Gupta there is not even prepared to answer any of the basic questions, fails the Socratic test that Rogan puts him through, very smartly, by the way, and then can't even handle any basic follow-ups. Why did you do this? You're the chief medical, right? You're the chief medical analyst at CNN. Why didn't you correct them? Why didn't you tell them that it wasn't horse dewormer? Why didn't you go on and correct the record? Oh, I don't know. Man, folks, this is the difference between a TV media personality and somebody who came up through real media. Someone who came up through responding, interacting with people, gaining a following, social media, using independent media. The absolute difference is that when you sit down and you subject yourself to hard questioning, all of that corporate bullcrap falls away completely. And you saw that happen here. Now, I know. He's got his podcast, I got my podcast, right? We're technically competitors, whatever. What he did there was fantastic. Every time you can expose one of these people, every time you can expose what CNN's doing, and every time that happens on wider and broader networks, you bring down the power of corporate media. And that, because this is a populist uprising. This is a populist revolution. The corporate media is what's standing in your way. Now, I don't even particularly have an opinion on ivermectin. I know that my good friend Tyler Boyer decided to take some when he came down with COVID and he got better. Good on you, Tyler. And no, ladies and gentlemen, as far as I know, because I saw him afterwards, he did not turn into a horse. So there you go, folks. There you go. All right, be right back. That's all the time we have here for Human Events Daily. But before we go, I have to remind you, share this out with your normie friends. Be the influence agent. Remember our motto, be good, be brief, be gone. This is your daily briefing. And would you kindly leave us a review that actually really helps us out? So go right into your Apple Podcast app, leave us a review that totally helps us with the rankings. But before I go, it's time for today's moment of history. Today in 1912, a crazed assassin in Milwaukee, Wisconsin attempted to shoot and kill Teddy Roosevelt when he was giving a speech in the middle of his campaign for a potential third term at the presidency. Teddy Roosevelt, of course, continued famously to give that speech even after being shot, and he uttered the famous phrase, "It'll take more than that to kill a bull moose." Ladies and gentlemen, you have my permission to lay ashore.
This is your brain. This is your brain on socialism. Any questions?
All right, thank you so much for watching Human Events Daily, but don't touch that POSO dial because we are now turning over to my great friends at Phoenix, Arizona, the Turning Point USA headquarters as Hour 2 of TP Live continues. Take it away, boys.
5, 4.
What's up, everybody? As always, I'm your host, Jon Root, and welcome to TPUSA HQ in Phoenix, Arizona. Let's get this thing going. Here's the rundown. First, we'll get you caught up with the news of the day in the daily briefing. Next, we'll share some details about the shocking number of illegal immigrants that have been released into the U.S. in our immigration update. Then we'll try to stump our guests and you at home in another edition of Law or Nah. Finally, we'll discuss our school board watch list and wrap up with California pushing for gender-neutral toy aisles and Lego going woke. And one last thing. Now you're up to speed, let's do this thing. TPUSA Live from HQ starts now.
Authentic, unfiltered, grassroots content and conversation every weekday. Live from Phoenix, Arizona at the Turning Point USA headquarters, this is TPUSA Live.
Well, once again, welcome to TPUSA Live in Phoenix, Arizona. We got Jonathan Koeppel back, former Louisiana school teacher, until you said two genders.
Two genders, that was too much.
I just can't believe you'd go there.
Yeah, sorry.
But now you're just an expert fencer.
Well, not like fencing with the swords, but like building fences.
Oh, yeah. We got to plug that today again. But we got host of On the Front Lines, Isabel Brown, host of Freedom Papers, Morgan Zegers.
Hello.
And you may have noticed, we have another guest here, too. We couldn't get the real thing, so we got the next best thing. Charlie Kirk turns 28 today. So we got a nice little video. Happy birthday, boss man.
Aww.
Oh,
I'm just going to say, there's nothing to remind you that you're single, like a picture of Erica and Charlie.
But yeah, some of us have spent just a little amount of time with Charlie. I've only been here for so long, but what's been your favorite memory hanging out with Charlie?
Oh my gosh, I met Charlie in 2017 when he was still wearing white dad sneakers and sweatpants and ill-fitting jeans to all of our conferences. I think he still might have a pair, but oh my gosh, it's just been so exciting to see Turning Point USA grow and change and his stature grow and change in American society. I think it's fair to say Charlie has become not just the voice of a generation, but multiple generations in our country, and it's just an honor to work with him here. I think my favorite memory of Charlie Kirk would have to be right before he went out and gave a speech at my college campus when I was one of our students for Turning Point USA. We did an Instagram story and I asked him, Charlie, do you have any words of wisdom for the people in the audience? And there was just absolute chaos on my college campus. Like the National Guard was there because the protests were so out of control. And all he had to say was, I hope no one gets hurt. So that was really funny. It was a good moment, but Charlie's awesome.
Yeah, we have so many great memories. We're going to make a lot more too because he's making such a difference in our country, in our world, and conservatism. So we're so thankful for Charlie. Happy birthday, boss man. Hope you have a great day.
You can ask him yourself.
Hey,
Flat Stanley.
Happy birthday, Charlie. So glad you're here spending some time with us. We're going to go over the daily briefing right now, Charlie. Is that cool with you? All right, sounds good. So what we're going to go over first is, Katie Couric, there's some news that came out that she actually edited some controversial comments from Associate Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg in her one-on-one sit-down interview. So basically, Ruth Bader Ginsburg said, I don't like players and Colin Kaepernick kneeling for the anthem. They took it out of the interview.
What? They did. It's wild. This is honestly, I think, the biggest story in America today. Of course, you're not hearing about it because nobody wants to cover it.
But you're going to get it here.
But essentially what happened was she said kneeling for the national anthem is completely disrespectful to your parents' and grandparents' generation. This is a free country that gives you the opportunity to do that in the first place. And after she said that in the interview, some of her employees later called the Today Show and said, hey, actually, that's not a really good look. Can you take that out of the interview?
Wow.
And Katie Couric did to protect the image and legacy of RBG. Ridiculous.
So this is what Ruth Bader Ginsburg said. This shows contempt for a government that has made it possible for their parents and grandparents to live a decent life.
Wild.
What a time. Absolutely insane.
I had no idea. That's so crazy. I feel like I'm pretty up to date on news. I
You
didn't
are,
even know this happened.
I think this story is going to get really buried by the end of the
my
day for
goodness.
sure, because it just goes to show you Supreme Court justices are supposed to be outside of partisan politics. But when the going really gets going here, really it is all partisan politics in Washington, D.C. It doesn't matter what
Well, it makes me
branch you work
sad because
for.
they've made her into this figure, and now young girls that look up to her, because she is a great figure for many girls to look up to, now they're going to not know what her stances were on really
anything.
important issues that shaped this decade.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's too bad. Okay.
And then some activists actually made a stance here with this billboard in Times Square in New York. Check this one out. So it says, "Hey Joe, time to let the mandates go." So President Joe Biden, obviously there's a massive billboard there in the heart of liberal NYC. They're saying this vaccine mandate, it's got to go. People are spending it's a lot of money to get a billboard like that up there in Times Square, so they're making their voices heard.
Well, Job Creators Network is really cool. They do a bunch of really great initiatives. They've done it with healthcare. They do it across the board, and they have some with socialism too. I mean, I'm a little biased, but I think socialism is a fun topic to discuss, so I appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and then the final thing we'll get you up to date on. So it looks like Pfizer's actually trying to vaccinate an entire city in Brazil.
Wow.
So 98%, a whole
Yeah.
city. So that is in the city of Toledo in Brazil. They're trying to vaccinate that whole city. And then also there was reports that 4.3 million people quit their job in August. So shocking numbers. That's 3% of the workforce.
Wow.
So
That's
shocking.
a large chunk of people leaving their jobs. I wonder if it has anything to do with all these mandates.
Maybe.
Courage is contagious.
Yes, it is.
But
Freedom
speaking
flu.
of-
Let's spread it. Yeah.
Speaking of shocking numbers, there is some shocking numbers in leaked documents from a Fox News correspondent from the Border Patrol. We're going to share those next in our immigration update. See you soon.
Critical race theory is the most racist thing that is being spread in popular life in America.
Critical race theory is bigoted. It is a lie.
Racism is now being taught to our kids.
Dividing kids based on race, trying to say some are oppressors and some are oppressed is absolutely unacceptable.
CRT is racist. It is abusive. It discriminates against one's color.
It's not critical race. It's racism.
Conservatives! POPlitics is now on TPUSA Live. It'll be here every day in case you want to hear me out along with the rest of the Turning Point USA team. Don't miss out on all the conservative.
You have to ask the question, how is the most heavily funded tribe have the poorest population?
Listen to me. My country is very because everything problem here. Don't have petroleum for bus and Cuban, for car, for life, for nothing.
And it sucks. Socialism sucks. There's no other way you can describe it.
TPUSA Live, we got Jonathan Koeppel, the just expert fencer, decker, everything. Can you please plug this business out? Because this guy stood up, lost his job in Louisiana, and then now you need to make sure you get the best decks and the best fence from this guy.
Yeah, so Southeast Louisiana, maybe the Gulf, South Mississippi, possibly Florida. If y'all got money and want to hire somebody to do a fence or a deck, you can call me. Otherwise, I'm going to keep doing this political-ish stuff.
You're pretty good at it, Jonathan. It's been fun.
Yeah, it's been fun.
I see commentating in your future.
Perhaps. And we got Isabel Brown, Morgan Zegers. Both have incredible weekly shows that you definitely have to check out. Freedom Papers on the front lines. We need to talk about what's going on the border. So often on the show, we've given you updates about the border crisis. Del Rio, Texas was wild. Numbers were growing every single day. And then we were asking, what's happening with these people? What's going on with these migrants? So there was actually documents obtained by Fox News correspondent Bill Belusion, and it said there was at least 160,000 migrants who crossed illegally and have been released into the United States. So this tweet is up here from Bill. It says, according to Border Patrol documents provided by a source, the federal government has released over 70,000 illegal immigrants into the United States since August 6th, including 31,977 released via parole, so temporary legal status eligible for work permits, and also 94,570 have been released via NTR since 3/20.
Wow.
Like, these are shocking numbers too, because he shared some more too, because we know there's Afghan refugees that are trying to get into the States too. And it seems like after the Del Rio, Texas thing, they really wanted to make sure this is out of the news cycle. You've talked about this a lot, Morgan, too, especially Afghanistan. It's like they're trying to push that away, and then now they're actually letting hundreds of thousands of migrants.
It's like we still have citizens and allies behind enemy lines in Afghanistan, and they've done such a good job of just removing it from the news cycle with their propaganda. I call it distraction propaganda is what they did when they announced the vaccine mandate, because it now affected 100 million people that were then having, instead of worrying about Afghanistan, had to worry about putting food on the table because the government was using force versus choice. I think it's really disgusting. I don't know about you guys. I feel super safe and secure as an American citizen right now, thanks to our leadership and our executive branch.
Ever felt.
I feel like they're really doing their jobs here.
It's absolutely ridiculous. And the irony of all of that cannot go unnoticed, because while we are totally comfortable ignoring the fact that American citizens are behind enemy lines in the hands of terrorists, actual terrorists in the Middle East, we are calling parents terrorists for going to school board meetings and covering everything up in between when it comes to the news cycle. Blows my mind.
Yeah, we're going to cover the criminal activity that's been going on at the border too. There's criminals that are actually finding their way in, but Border Patrol's doing their work even though they've been totally vilified by the leaders.
No horses. Apparently they're whipping
Segways,
the immigrants.
maybe now, I don't know. Mall
we
cop,
need Paul Blart out there.
Paul Blart, Border Patrol.
It like reminded me too, we always talk about like the Cultural Revolution, the culture wars, everything that's going on. They attacked our monuments, our founders, our statues, everything, all the stuff. And I saw articles saying that apple pie is racist too. In Texas, the left is going after the Alamo because they think it was white settlers on Mexican land and we can't celebrate that. They're going after all these pinnacles of American history and culture and heritage. And I think it's interesting. It's like they even attacked the horses because these people don't understand, like they can't have anything pro-America, cowboy, Western theme because it's just too close to American culture.
The cowboy culture comes from Argentina with the gauchos. So, and then like Latin America, they were doing it first. So how is that racist? Like, let's go. Let's just go there.
Maybe it's cultural appropriation.
let's go there.
And that was the truth that you were teaching before they let you go.
Yeah,
as a Spanish teacher, you need to know.
In Argentina, and then that kind of came and made its way up to North America.
But as funny as all of this is, and the irony doesn't go unnoticed for us, it's just mind-boggling to me that there are tens of thousands of people walking around in our country right now who broke the law and deserve to be held accountable for that action, but never will be, of course, because that's the world that we're living in today, and nobody is questioning it. Nobody is talking about this at all.
We are,
thank goodness, and that's important. But I just cannot believe that we've arrived at this point in American society and in politics. Immigration was always the hot button issue from both sides of the aisle, and it was always, you have to be so careful about how you word things, and if you're a politician, it has to be a perfectly crafted statement what your stance on immigration is. Now they don't even care. They just let tens of thousands of people walk across the southern border scot-free, and when they're asked about it, they just laugh. The Kamala Harris cackle.
And then before we actually get into a video of how these migrants are just finding their way into the United States, it's pretty much wide open. A lot of people are probably wondering, like, whoa, these numbers, is that actually a lot? It's actually a lot, because when you talk about almost 32,000 have been released via parole, this is what former U.S. Border Patrol Chief Rodney Scott had to say. Under federal law, parole for non-citizen is done by a case-by-case basis and only for urgent humanitarian reasons. And he said, so comparing this to the 32,000 that have found their way in via parole, he only granted 5 to 10 per year as a sector chief, but President Biden has granted 32,000 in a couple months.
In just parole,
but
too.
not a single one. Let's really look at this, right? Not a single, permitted migrant from Cuba, which blows my mind. If you're from Cuba, you can't come to America, but if you come through the Mexican border, you will come in, we'll give you parole, we'll even give you a temporary work pass so you can go get a job. Unbelievable.
Yeah, oh, speaking of Cuba, so I've interviewed a lot of the survivors. One guy, Ray Armas, he windsurfed 90 miles from Cuba to the Florida Keys, 10 hours. Literally did that. Got picked up by the Coast Guard at the U.S. border, was brought all the way back to Cuba. First of all, the Coast Guard was like shocked. They were like, "You're from where? You're not just like vacationing in Florida right now, and we're picking you up because you got a little off distance." No, he was like 13 miles off the coast of Florida. Got picked up by the Coast Guard, brought back to Cuba, is oppressed for 3 years, attacked by police, beaten by police because the Cubans just found out, you tried to escape our communist regime. He's attacked, had to do it the legal way, and eventually he did do the paperwork and became a legal refugee in America, and then he came and served in Afghanistan. The irony of that now is he served in Afghanistan, his interpreter is stuck in Afghanistan, and we've been working to get him out. But it's just like that kind of stuff, that's America these days. That's what we're dealing with. It's
Well,
the epitome of the irony.
It's all America these days, all of our craziest, wildest dreams. I know we have a video that we can probably show to everybody what it looks like across our southern border right now. Everybody just walking right across.
Yeah, check this out.
Completely
Literally
crazy.
just waltzing
Let's check it
right
out.
in.
Basically, as we're getting ready to pack up, you can see a group of migrants walk by, and they just stroll right by the incomplete border wall here. This happens pretty much every day. This is a very popular path. Once these migrants cross the Rio Grande, they'll just walk right by the edge of this wall here that was never completed. You can see there's an ATV following them. That is the tiny La Jolla Police Department. They're the ones having to follow these migrants. There was no Border Patrol out here. They follow them until they're able to find Border Patrol, so these family units can turn themselves in.
Aren't you seeing the pattern here? That like it's our supply chain overwhelmed.
Yep.
Border overwhelmed, and they're expecting Border Patrol agents to just somehow figure this out. They literally have police departments there.
On an ATV.
On an
Maybe
ATV
it wasn't segways, okay, I take it back, but it's ATV mall cop at the border. Oh my gosh. And now, as of yesterday or today, President Biden halted any future funding for the border wall, and everything that we've already purchased, materials-wise, is just going to sit there and rust forever now.
Yeah, we
So
covered
that's
that
lovely.
earlier, that they were literally paying contractors $5 million a day.
To what?
To not build.
To not build.
To not build. To not build.
Makes
Build
me
back
not wanna
better,
pay.
am I right?
No more
$5 million.
I'm looking in on this a little something.
Yeah,
Bills to pay.
same, really,
Bills
though.
to pay.
That's the priority here. Don't work. But also, we need you to work because we need the jobs numbers because they suck.
Oh,
but please
remember
don't.
the shipping
So
containers?
just
We're going to
pay
work
you.
every night.
No.
Yeah. So it's like, great. So now the problem is traffic, right? So we got to start working through the night. It doesn't matter that we don't have any workers, but hey, 24/7. That's what we're gonna do. The roads are way more open. It's just build back better. It's
I feel
really
it.
working.
We're really killing the game.
It's painful.
But they were also talking about additional
The heart
40,000 illegal immigrants that the administration let in on their own reconnaissance.
Mhm.
And usually those immigrants have some sort of ankle brace. They can keep track of them, but there's absolutely no ankle braces. They're also not testing them for COVID
Of course,
whatsoever.
naturally. You don't need to test for citizenship. Why would you even test for COVID?
That's exactly.
That's a great
just so
point. I like that.
invasive.
I really like that.
We don't even need a COVID test now. Everybody just come. It's fine. Come to our country.
It's shocking. I mean, if you look at we had that as the principle for quite some time with Obama, and it was President Trump that said, no, we're no longer doing this catch and release situation where we just let people go out, because they never come to their court date. They never report to an office the way they are told to do. It's a really serious problem. So President Trump ended that and said, you cannot do that anymore. You can't just go freely live out in America and escape law. And then President Biden brought it back.
Well, and amazingly, the court
Build back
system
better.
said you can't just let people into our country scot-free. They have to go home while they wait for an asylum hearing or a court date. And even despite all of that, they don't even care. And this all goes back to, they don't care about the blowback. They don't care about the political consequences anymore for their actions. They are just going to do whatever they feel like on any given day. And frankly, I still question who's really making all of these calls and all of these decisions, because we're not hearing about this from the president. We're not hearing about this from the border czar, our vice president,
Nope,
who
of
can't
course
even
not.
be bothered to go to the border. So who
She's
is
talking about
making
space.
this call
Yeah, with
in
actors.
Washington,
Yeah.
D.C.? Who is in charge?
Well, and that's my friend. I don't know if you've met her. Her name is Rachel Bovard, and she lives in D.C. One of the smartest girls I've ever met, women. And I do that all the time. One of the smartest women I've ever met. And she posted something about Biden's administration ignoring the courts, ignoring the Supreme Court, and saying this is another example of, are we in a post-constitutional state?
Mm-hmm.
Because we don't have regard for basic constitutional priority and structure anymore, thanks to the Biden administration. It's fascinating, and it's really serious what he does when he ignores these things.
No checks and balances anymore. We have laws that are not being followed. They're all being broken. And it's like, what is the point of having the law, having the Constitution? It's supposed to be upheld, but it's not. Everything just gets trampled upon. So to be quite honest, we're not living in the same America that was here 50 years ago. It's not the same. So people say, we got to protect our freedoms. Your freedoms have already been taken. Because they're just doing whatever the heck they want and getting away with it and not being held accountable.
Yeah, and then when you have the Department of Homeland Security Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas announce that there's going to be relaxation on travel across the border of Canada and Mexico to people that are vaccinated, people are just like, whoa, there's just reports here that over 160,000 illegal immigrants have been let in, and you're going to try to tell me?
Yeah, hilarious to me that you think you had standards to begin with.
Yeah.
Like, we're relaxing the standards. Don't worry, you can come into our country now. Good one, Biden, because I don't think we ever had actual standards in terms of COVID or anything else in terms of walking across our southern border. Ridiculous.
And then, like you were saying too, like they play on people's emotion too. They're trying to say this is a humanitarian crisis, and we should just let them in because that's how we would care for them well. But people are forgetting, like this is not an America First administration at all.
But there's also no crisis because I have been to Nicaragua, I've been to Panama. Panama is like super great. Honduras as well, which is not so great. But in those countries like in Central America, Nicaragua and Honduras, you could actually live a decent life. You could start a business. Why don't you try that where you live? Is every single person that lives there being persecuted? Absolutely not. It's a joke. You got people coming from Chile, coming through Mexico that were given asylum in Chile. And then now they're coming up to the Mexican border. So it's not a humanitarian. So these people, oh my heart, oh my feelings, like stop, like your feelings are fake. Your feelings are not real because this is not a real, where's the pictures and videos of the crisis that's happening in those countries? They have cell phones. When the crisis happened in Cuba, we saw it because everybody was filming it. So what's happening in Guatemala? What's happening in all these other places where they're coming from? It's kind of like life as normal.
Well, you're going to be feeling pretty emotional when it hits your pocketbook too. I mean, your tax dollars are going to this stuff.
Yep.
It's like taking care of these people.
They're not paying taxes, but we're going to be paying taxes on everything. So if I give you $600, over just reimbursement, I'm not going to just give you, But if I start reimbursing you for expenses or whatever, they're going to tax us on that, but they're not going to go tax these. You can't tax the illegal aliens.
Yeah, and of course it pulls away from welfare programs that are intended to help Americans, and that goes back to this America First conversation. I find it so striking that politicians who were elected to represent American citizens and represent their interests cannot even remotely be bothered to identify the problems in their communities, in their districts that they're representing, in their state that they may be the governor for. Look at the homelessness crisis in our country and how much that has completely exploded in the time of COVID-19. We have a mental health crisis that this world has never seen in the United States of America today. We need as much help as we can get for preventative programming, for getting people jobs, getting them into a home, getting them into a safe, stable environment, and instead all of that is being given away and diverted to this crisis at the border because now there's no crisis being taken care of.
And this is the biggest crisis in over 2 decades too. And then we talked about supply chain yesterday, where it's been just the biggest inflation we've seen in over 13 years. So like these are crises and we need to hold our leaders accountable too. So that's what has got to infuriate every single American when you have the leader of America, President Biden, go up and talk to the nation, basically say, the problem is traffic, the problem is COVID, the problem is Border Patrol agents with whips, and they're not actually getting it done. And then he leaves, doesn't take any questions.
Elections have consequences. So all the people that voted for the president, I want you to realize that is a consequence.
And if your feelings are really the primary motivation here, great, let's all band together and really assess how we can help the most people possible and make such a big difference in the lives of people who need our help the most. This is not the way to do that.
And obviously this is a tough topic at times. It gets serious, so it's time to just lighten up a little bit in this next segment. We're going to play Law or Not. We'll see if we can stump y'all.
They're all
and
laws.
stump everybody at all. Morgan says everything is real, everything is a law, but we're going to see you guys in 90 seconds.
That's what I do.
This has all happened before. The riots, violence, church burning, attacks on police, destruction of private property.
My name is Sammy Steigman. I am a Holocaust survivor.
This is the reality of what happens when you have capitalism that goes to socialism.
El socialismo no funciona. El socialismo no funciona.
Welcome back to TPUSA Live. We're in Phoenix, Arizona at TPUSA HQ. We have Jonathan Koeppel.
Whoa, finger pointing.
Whoa!
Somebody's got to ban these guns, okay?
That's offensive?
Dangerous.
Yeah.
Finger guns. Easy there.
Is that allowed? I'm sorry, producer Kylie. I'm sorry.
We got Morgan Zegers and Isabel Brown here. My goodness, we got to have you back. This has been fun. This has been real good. The finger guns. You got
much aggression?
No, it's fantastic.
I like it.
They're really missing out in Louisiana. We need more teachers like
Y'all come down to
Jonathan.
the bayou. We're going to do something.
That's what I'm talking about.
Down on the corner.
TPUSA
Nope,
Live
that's
on
the
location.
bayou, not
Dang
the
it.
corner, Morgan. Not the corner.
All right,
What's the
John.
song?
I want to hear
God.
what's the law.
Yeah, let's
and
get
what
to
is
that.
not
I
the
wanted
law.
I want to tell you about Law or Nah. So this is another installment of one of our favorite games, Law or Nah. So I'm going to tell y'all about a law that's either written law in our great nation or not. And you're going to have to guess. Morgan obviously thinks everything's a law because we live in
The government wants to
Did we all go
oppress
to
you.
college? You went to college? So we should know this, right?
We're educated.
No,
We're educated. We're the
Yeah.
educated
There was
folk.
one about apple pie. What was last year? Oh, it was cherry pie. You can't put ice cream on cherry pie in one of the states.
What?
Kansas. I'm going to Kansas
'Cause
next week
it's
and I'm going to do it.
Do it. Why not? You rebel.
Breaking
you.
the law. Breaking the law.
Living on the edge. First one, we got this one up here. In Alabama, it is illegal to wear a fake mustache that causes laughter in church.
This is a law, for sure.
It's Alabama, so I'm inclined to say it's a law.
I'm just going to say no because both of y'all said yes. So.
I feel like this is something Bama would. It sounds very footloosey.
It could be from like the
It's like the town in
1800s.
Footloose.
This could be old.
This is actually a law.
Oh,
This
my
is a
word.
law that
This is
it's
great.
illegal to wear a fake mustache that causes laughter in church.
The boot is on our face. The government
So
boot.
could you prosecute somebody for doing that?
I guess you could. One year at Christmas
I wanna break
time,
all these
my
laws. I
family
just feel
and
it in
I,
my
Every
bones.
year we go to Broadway musicals around Christmas time. It's so fun. We see a Christmas Carol or Elf the musical or whatever. And one year we all wore fake mustaches
my
to the
God.
musical because we thought it would be fun. So I guess good thing we didn't live in Alabama. No, we were in Colorado.
Oh.
Going to a musical.
I was like, you did
it on
This is
purpose?
hilarious
Yeah,
though.
legal
It was
there.
fun.
She's ahead of her
What if
time.
people wanted to do that just for fun?
The Root family's done that. We usually go see a movie every single
Root
Christmas,
family?
so we got fake
Mustache.
mustaches.
You have
But
one.
now
John.
I got a real one.
John,
But
I was
can't do
thinking
like a
you look like a
handle.
Yeah,
young,
it's fun.
handsome Santa Claus, a Chris Kringle, if you will.
Oh, wow.
He's got the cheeks, the rosy cheeks.
Well,
I think
next
so.
segment, our guests sit on my lap and tell me what they want for
That's my
Christmas, but because of the supply chain crisis, you might not get it in time.
No presents.
My goodness. All right.
I
here, this
missed
is-
that one right over my head. I didn't get that one.
What's the next
The next one. This one's from Alaska. Check this one out. In Alaska, it is illegal to wake a sleeping bear to take a photo.
Definitely a law.
That has to be a law.
Law.
For sure.
Has to be a
Wow,
law.
that was quick. Why?
It
I
sounds.
was in Alaska a couple
good.
months ago. Seems like an Alaska thing
Is that what
to
they
do.
talk about on there?
Well, bears are a big topic of conversation for Alaskans.
Seriously?
It's actually also illegal in Alaska, fun fact, to lead a commercial backpacking trip without carrying a gun. Just in case because of bears. So, I mean, there's
shoot the
bears
bear?
everywhere, just in case.
I feel like it's
can't
a
wake
safety
it up.
thing and a respectful thing
It
to
is,
the
it
animals.
is.
So, like,
It's a
I'm feeling
respect.
environmental
I
safety
feel it.
and
I
law.
love
In Louisiana, you can't touch an alligator. That's like a harassment
You can't
charge.
touch it?
Can't
See,
touch
and
it.
this
Well,
is
would
like
anybody
the
want to
Alaska
touch
I'm not
an
saying that
alligator?
I've ever done that. I'm not saying that I've ever done that.
100%.
But it is a charge. You can get like a fine.
Yeah,
So I'm
see,
guessing that has
alligators
to be
in
it.
Louisiana,
Bears
bears
in
in
Alaska.
Alaska, same thing. It's definitely.
All right, I will tell you this. It is a law.
Yeah, for sure.
No selfies with
See,
bears
this
there
one
in
makes
Alaska.
sense. I think that's
That's a reasonable
I hate the
law,
government,
feel,
but I kinda feel
because
this
you will
one.
die
Don't
if you
wake
a
a sleeping bear,
So,
Oh.
Just don't touch bears or alligators. It just
I
doesn't
mean, if
make
you're
sense to
waking
me.
a hibernating bear to take
This
their
next one is from Arkansas. Let's check this one out. In Arkansas, it is illegal to mispronounce Arkansas.
That's not a law.
There's no way that that could actually be a law.
Think about if you grew up with a heavy accent.
I really want to
But
say
they
it's a
say
law
it
just to be
different
annoying.
than we would
but
say it, right?
Probably not a law. Probably. See, I'm like, could be.
Now she's on the fence.
It could be.
You can do Hey! Need a fence? All this stuff is going over Morgan's head.
I don't know. I don't think it's a law.
This is a law.
No.
Yeah, in Arkansas, it is illegal to mispronounce Arkansas.
Oh my God.
See, you can't say Arkansas.
You can't
They'll
say
send you right
Arkansas.
to jail.
You're
right
gone.
to jail right away.
So
Yeah.
Texarkana is illegal?
Right away.
Exactly.
Isn't that a thing?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Wait,
that's
what?
illegal.
Wow, this is shocking information.
Let's
Yeah,
prosecute
you
some
can learn a
people.
lot.
Illegal.
You're learning a lot
Good
too.
luck.
All right, this next one is from Colorado. Let's check
Oh,
it
boy,
out.
okay, my state.
In Colorado, it is legal to ride a horse while under the
It is
influence.
definitely not
Law.
legal.
Law.
You think it's law?
Yeah, because it's like driving while intoxicated.
Yeah.
Right, you're saying it's illegal.
You could, yeah.
So they're saying it's illegal to ride a horse under the influence.
It's not a law because they're saying it's legal. So it's definitely illegal to ride a horse.
You know what?
I think it's
Yeah,
illegal
I totally
to ride
misinterpreted
horse.
that.
We got
You're
you back
trying to trick us over
You're
here,
tricking
okay?
us,
Pull
okay.
a bait and switch on us, John. We're smarter
Bait and
than
switch.
that.
John, what was that move?
I'm trying to do what the World Wednesday, which is like climate change.
We gotta know.
It's not. So it's basically just like you're behind the wheel of a motor vehicle.
Fact, cannot be under the influence while you're skiing or snowboarding in Colorado.
I have a feeling a lot of
What
people
about the
break that rule.
potheads?
It's
that
a
smoke
very
all day?
big problem, actually.
Can they smoke
so.
and snowboard?
I don't know.
It's a thing.
That's
but
under the influence.
You
of
can.
You know, I'm also a hippie, and I don't know if I give those vibes.
Morgan.
I really
spicy.
I'm trying to think of like slang, but I can't even come up with a joke slang. So like, I guess I can't.
You can take this play off, Grandma.
I'm like a doobie. Is that what they call them? I don't know.
Welcome to TPUSALIVE Unfiltered.
Okay, guys.
This next,
All right, give Morgan the next one.
It's called pot. It's called pot.
This next one's from Georgia.
Producer Kylie's mad at me.
This one in Georgia. You cannot consume ice cream on Sundays. Is that a law or nah? In Georgia, you cannot
It could be an
consume
old
ice cream
law.
on
I'm
Sundays.
feeling it's a
With
law.
like the church times back, like long time. It could be an old law.
But is this current law? That's a great question. Is this current
Oh yeah.
standing
If it
law?
hasn't been taken off, like if they haven't gotten rid of it,
That's what I think a lot of this is. I'm gonna say it's a law. You can't do it.
I
It's
think
the
it's
Lord's
possible.
day.
I think
and
it
you
is
gotta
la
do
ley.
things.
It is not a law. Dang. It is not a law in Georgia. It's because it's illegal to keep an ice cream cone in your back pocket on Sundays.
That's the law.
Because who does that?
Wait, is that
So you
yeah, that is. It's illegal to
Stuff
keep
like this.
an ice cream cone in your back pocket.
It's like a fun fact, and like that's cute, that's fun, it's a little quirky.
But it's oppressive.
How ridiculous that our state legislatures around the country are wasting their time on this crap.
I want to
Just
know.
a thought. I don't know.
Can we have the years of these laws next
That'd be
time we play
great.
this game? Because I'm curious.
Great
I'm a history nerd, and
What
I'm
if that was
I'm
like
interested.
1791?
Yeah.
Ooh. That was a heck of a year too.
I
There were
feel
so
like
many
great.
people put
If
an
you're
ice
watching
cream cone in
the
their back
stream,
pocket.
fact check us. We want to know
fact
what
check us,
year.
please. Come on, let's
Drop it in
go.
the comments.
Social media warriors, fact check this.
I just want to know the people that actually put ice cream cones in their back pocket.
Yeah, that's
Like,
very
that just-
bizarre to me.
I don't know.
Maybe
Seems
they
like
were
a big
different
mess.
years ago. The
Maybe
president?
the
Is that what we're saying?
hearing in our ear from producer Tyler,
chocolate
potentially
chip
the
in my back
president of the
pocket.
United States may. I mean, it's a valid
He would be
question.
like sitting on it and be like, oh,
Oops.
my butt is cold.
Another double scoop.
They wouldn't want that PR scene for some chocolate ice cream in their back pocket.
Not good. But
Are
then
you
we
telling
can
me
have
that
another
that's
I
totally
want
what
somebody
happened?
wipe my butt moment like we saw on the internet. So you never know. Maybe it'd be good.
Whoa, that would be great for Depends.
Well, let's just throw back to Alex Clark just a couple days ago when she was like,
Gotta
ice
stop
cream,
this.
Biden.
Oh my, yeah, when Alex did that, I was like, yeah, you can't unsee that. But how about this one in Iowa? One-armed piano players are paid twice the average.
This is a lot of words.
When
jumbled
I
in my
was
head.
growing up in Colorado, we said Iowa stood for idiots out wandering around. So I feel like weird laws
You
in
guys are
Iowa
mean.
are not that out of the question. I'm going to say it's a law.
Twice the average.
It's nah. So one-armed piano players are required to play for free.
What?
That's a lot. No way.
That seems so unfair.
That is, yeah,
That is blatant
definitely.
discrimination.
I'm just reading the cartoon.
They aren't a protected class, whatever that, you know.
Yeah, but I've seen
Yeah,
some.
that is a protect. That is literally
Disabled?
illegal to have that
Maybe
law.
today
Is that like
it is.
slavery?
We need
Today
to
it
go
is.
to Iowa because I mean
Let's
Charlie's
check it
on
out.
is exposing critical racism to her.
Expose
We need to
slavery
stand up
to
for
her.
You
one-armed
know, Benny's
pianists.
from Iowa.
Oh.
We could send Benny Johnson on a quest to go figure out the one-armed
Benny
piano
on the
player
block.
debacle. Benny on the
Imagine
block,
Benny on the block
one-armed
with
piano player.
What are your thoughts on this?
We're going on an
We need,
adventure.
we need to find a one-armed piano player
Both would be great.
to be
also.
our person that we can help.
I was gonna be like, we can ask Congressman Crenshaw. I'm sure he can join
would
in.
help.
He loves joking about
This
that.
this last one we have to get to. This one's from Maine. So in Maine, it is illegal to keep Christmas decorations up past January 14th.
Would not surprise me. I think that's a
Super.
law.
This is super like HOA,
Very
liberal
Maine.
elite.
It's gotta
They
be a
want
law.
their
Very
neighborhood to be
Do they have?
spotless.
Are there trailer parks up
Very
there?
Cape Cod-y, very Maine.
Because if not, that's definitely
Maine
a
doesn't
law.
have very many people, but it's a beautiful place. I think it probably is a law.
Yeah, this sounds like a neighborhood that requires certain palette colors
Oh,
for
yeah,
the
for sure.
houses and the doors and everything.
It is actually a law.
Yep.
And also, I think it should be a law that you cannot play Christmas music before
John,
Thanksgiving.
shut
Okay, that I agree
Bold
with.
take?
Before Thanksgiving,
go
I agree
there?
Yeah.
with.
Did we go there?
Just let me
Settle
be
down,
happy. Let
Jonathan.
people have happiness in different
go
ways.
there?
There's bigger problems. Okay, there's allies behind lines in Afghanistan.
Wow.
Focus on that.
Morgan.
Hey,
Thank
we're,
you.
hey, we're fighting the good fight here.
We're
But
about to
coming
get
up
in a
next,
fight.
we're going to
That's
share
what's about
our
to happen.
school board watch list. We have some incredible stories about one school trying to cancel Halloween. See you soon.
This is your brain. This is your brain on socialism. Any questions?
Conservatives! POPlitics is now on TPUSA Live. It'll be here every day in case you want to hear me out along with the rest of the Turning Point USA team. Don't miss out on all the conservative.
Welcome back to TPUSA Live. We got Morgan Zegers, Isabel Brown, Jonathan Koeppel. Oh,
We are
would you look at-
vibing on set
Man, we're feeling it today.
We're having fun. That's what
It's
you gotta
Thursday,
do,
but
right?
it feels like a
Fun.
Friday.
Honestly,
Is
I
it
woke up
Thursday?
this morning and thought, oh my gosh, it's Friday. And then I was like,
That's one of the most disappointing.
I know.
things.
The worst.
Oh, hush. Life is great every day.
Jeez Louise. Okay.
But
Life is wonderful.
what's also disappointing is
Great.
look
Great.
at this segue. Okay.
Can you perk up, please, John?
Thank you.
What's disappointing is the way some of our school boards have been treating their kids,
Yeah.
and
yeah,
the way
I
they
agree.
think
Yeah,
they're
that's me.
actually. We need to protect holidays. I know I said something controversial last time about Christmas.
Oh, now
music,
you want to
but-
protect
Here we
holidays.
But now we need to
back
protect
up.
Halloween. But we got this story from Jason Rance, our friend that's been on the program with us, said that Benjamin Franklin Day Elementary School has canceled Halloween activities over concerns about student equity and inclusion.
Does that mean everyone has to get the same pieces of candy? Same number of candy?
So
is that the equity
stupid.
we're talking
Is it
about?
Well, they're not
ability
even
to afford
having
costumes?
Halloween at all, so there's no trick-or-treating, so none of that.
So no
why'd
pinatas
they
either, I
cancel
bet,
it?
for
So
birthdays.
this is how the school explained it. They said, as a school with foundational beliefs about equity for students and families, we're moving away from our traditional pumpkin parade event and requesting that students do not come to school in costumes. Wear a mask, but not a Halloween mask.
Oh, that's a good.
Where did
funny,
they get
John.
the, where did the data come
Hilarious.
from? Like,
Hilarious.
where did they harvest that information that they're all of a sudden calling Halloween like racist and like bad? And
Is this about
Needs to be
economics of like
inclusive.
not able to afford costumes and candy and
It might be
stuff?
the
or what?
chocolate cost.
They,
has gone
they
up.
literally said, so this is what they said, Seattle Public Schools.
Oh, it's
Oh,
Seattle.
Seattle.
Seattle Public Schools said this,
They can
that
go
black
ahead.
males do
Weird.
not celebrate and more generally
What?
students
They
of
said
color
what?
feel, so right here, Seattle Public Schools says black males do not celebrate and are more generally students of color feel marginalized by the holiday.
They said black male students.
Just in
black
Seattle?
male kids do not celebrate
Seattle.
Halloween.
Because look, I'm from the New Orleans area. We have a lot. It's mixed. We have everybody. Every color you can think of that exists, we have it all. And everybody does something for Halloween. They have massive parties with every type of color person. So
Well,
for
it's
them
like
to
the
say
best
that,
kid holiday ever, obviously.
I don't get it.
If they, I mean, guys, look what they've done to our kids with COVID. Like, they don't care about our children's happiness or
No, I know
development
that.
or enjoyment. So it's like, go ahead. If you liberal cities want to do this to your children and your future generations, go ahead, make them miserable. We're going to make happy babies.
Yeah, and they're trying to say that marginalized communities too, the reason they're not succeeding or their test scores not where they should be is because of things like Halloween.
Halloween.
Celebrating Halloween. It's ridiculous.
I do not know how you can have a brain and be alive and sentient today in American society and honestly believe the left cares about minorities. Like, that is the most insulting, disgusting statement that, oh, if you're a black kid in America, you don't celebrate Halloween. It's not for you. It's only for us. So we're going to cancel it and just help you along a little bit. Here's a piece of candy, kiddo. Ruffle off your hair and send you back on your way. Good Lord. I mean, that is blatantly racist.
What do black people think about it? I want to know, like, let's find some, like, black people, a bunch of people that are black, and say, how do you feel about this?
Do you celebrate Halloween?
Them saying this is racist. Like, what do you think?
Dude, but
I think it's a good idea. Let's just ask them. Same thing with the vaccines.
We're going to Seattle?
I'm
When are we
ask
going?
people, what do you think about requiring people to get vaccines or getting fired when you could still get COVID with the vaccine? What's the difference between the threat that person is bringing to the workplace versus a vaccinated person? And they'll say, oh, well, you recover better, you recover faster. How does that, again, have anything to do with your threat at the workplace? You could still spread it. It's crazy. I wish, though, we could just have can we get like a Turning Point show where we do like case studies? What are they called? Group studies? Where like, can I get like nerdy glasses and I ask people questions? Like,
I think we can try to set that up.
On these 5 topics?
How does that make you feel?
Yes,
like,
and we get like groups of
like
people.
go to the streets and ask people this in public?
Yeah.
Zegers on the block.
No,
that sounds
please. I don't like humans.
Zegers
I can't do
block.
these things. I like to be alone in my home, but let's have a little case
But I have to
study
tell
here.
you what they're doing instead.
Okay.
Instead of celebrating Halloween, so they're going to partake in inclusive fall events like thematic units of study about fall. And they're also going to be able to review autumnal artwork while sharing all the cozy feelings of the season. They said this in their newsletter that they sent out to parents.
Oh.
What does that mean? That sounds like a lot of words that should mean something, and they put them all together, but they don't mean anything whatsoever. Like, oh my gosh, just let kids be kids. Let them dress up in a costume. Let them eat candy. Let them wear Halloween mask instead of a mask for COVID on their face for 5 minutes, and then maybe we can all be
dies
United
first
States
in
of
the
America.
horror movies? The white people. So I'm just throwing that out there. So I don't know how these costumes
That's
are real
Jonathan's
racist.
evidence here. So out of all the horror movies that I've seen, there seems to be just a reoccurring theme. But here, when we're talking about holidays are under attack and what they're doing to our kids here, I think Vivek, and I want to make sure I get this last name right, Ramaswamy, he's going to be on the show this next week. He was on Fox News Primetime breaking it down, and I think this was spot on.
And, maybe there's a lot of good reasons to cancel Halloween. Dental hygiene might be on the list, but I don't think that marginalizing communities of color is on that list. And in all seriousness, Jesse, sometimes we hear the expression on the right that nothing's allowed to be sacred anymore. I actually think our problem is the opposite. Nothing is allowed to be ordinary anymore. These are ordinary, fun traditions that bring us together. Right. Halloween brings kids together, irrespective of their skin color, irrespective of their race or where their parents came from. And as we turn each of those unifying moments into these moments of division, that's really what takes us to the brink of this cultural civil war that we're on. And so I think the left and the right need to remember that these are occasions for actually to have fun together, to bring kids together to have fun and not infuse a level of political seriousness into traditions that are just supposed to be ordinary fun in everyday life.
Let's have fun.
Yeah, cultural revolution like Mao. Like he wanted to get rid of in communist China the old customs, old traditions, old ideas, all of those things, old values.
More fun.
And that's what we're experiencing in America.
And then Vivek also said this is a movement that will not stop until it's turned down every American institution and every American tradition. Like now we're telling kids like, don't celebrate Halloween. You're going to be checking out like autumn artwork,
Yeah.
or something like that. And we're going to
do
talk
this
about
very adult activity instead of anything else that you might remotely want to do as a kid. We'll eat hors d'oeuvres and look at autumnal artwork instead of eat candy bars and dress in a costume.
Christmas though? They're going to do the same thing with Christmas.
You can't do Christmas.
surprised.
It's already canceled.
Halloween's supposed to be like the devil's holiday, right? It's like the anti-Christian
Canceled.
holiday, and usually that's the thing here. So I'm surprised they're doing this with Halloween, and they're not like, let's do Satanist respect sessions or something during Halloween. And then I'm surprised they didn't cancel Christmas, which means they're probably going to do it. But
Well, Christmas has been canceled for like 10 years.
I know, but
Everything's
Christmas
canceled.
and
do they still celebrate it in schools? Like, do
Well,
they get little Christmas sessions?
Nope.
They don't like saying the word
Oh.
Christmas because it uses
Holidays.
the word Christ.
Happy
so it
holidays.
offends
Oh, I forgot
apparently
about
people.
that.
Yeah,
See,
don't forget about that.
I'm out of touch. I forgot
You're
we
out
can't
of
say
touch.
that.
Yeah, you have to say Xmas now. That's what you have to say. Or
No,
just-
it's just, I don't even think that. I think you
Latin
literally just have to
X,
say Happy Holidays.
Xmas. What is it? What's another one with an X? There's got to be a third one, right?
And now they'll probably say we
I've
can't
lost
do
track.
that because
No,
you can't
too many.
celebrate the holidays
You can't
because
be
of
happy.
COVID.
It's going to be Halloween
That-
It's
X.
virtual.
Or some
so
people can't afford
happy
presents
Zoom
and
call,
stuff.
everyone. Instead of Merry Christmas.
But also, too, our school board watch list has been incredible. They really share a lot of the truth that's going on. We also bring up the professor watch list. But one of these news stories from Loudoun County Public Schools. So they've come under intense scrutiny in June of this year and this month for the arrest of Scott Smith, a father in Loudoun County who was found guilty of disorderly conduct and resisting arrest. And the reason that he got arrested was he told the school board about a sexual assault that happened to his daughter.
Yeah.
And they basically have tried to cover it up.
They did. They totally covered it up.
That's the story here. It's saying sexual assault occurred with his daughter by a skirt-wearing boy that went into the girls' restroom.
Yeah, and he raped her and was held accountable for that. He was prosecuted for it. And then the school board, I think you have the direct quote, John, but they came forward and they said, no, that didn't happen. We're unaware of anything like that happening. When it's public record that this biological male was arrested and prosecuted for these crimes. So it's absolutely ridiculous to me. They're just lying through their teeth now. And these parents are now the domestic terrorists for trying to have their children not be raped in a bathroom at their school.
Yeah, we're trying to protect our kids. And I know that's one of the reasons you got fired too. Like, hey, I'm just trying to protect kids here, and then if protecting kids is wrong,
because you're brainwashing them. The brain, you know science a little bit, right? Yeah, you do.
Scientist over here.
The brain doesn't finish developing. For a long time. You don't have a frontal lobe to measure consequence until you're, I think, like 23, 20, somewhere in like your early 20s. Your frontal lobe finishes developing. So these kids don't have a developed brain. You have these adults shoving this indoctrination, all these lies and suggestions to them. So what do the kids do? They're already looking for acceptance. They're looking for identity. They absorb all of it like a sponge, and they say, okay, you put that identity on me. I kind of, okay, oh, you're embracing it. You're it's accepting, and you're promoting it and encouraging me. Yeah, I'll take that identity. And now you got skirt-wearing boys who want to be a girl now being a boy raping a girl. So they're going back to male and female and still wearing the skirt. None of it makes sense. None of it's good. And then when the dad wants to talk about it, what do they say? Oh, it's not real. It didn't happen.
And we're going to arrest you.
But remember, if y'all remember the Me Too stuff that was going on a few years ago, a girl could make a fake claim about rape and it was like national. Yeah, believe her immediately. Believe it. Now, because it has to do with the schools.
Yeah. Now you can get sodomized in a
Seriously?
bathroom and nobody
it's just gotten so muddy too. And then the actual direct quote there. So like minutes before the arrest, that we're actually going to show you what happened there at that school board meeting. What they said on that June 22nd school board meeting, the superintendent declared that the predator, transgender student or person simply does not exist. And that to his knowledge, we don't have any record of assaults occurring in our restrooms.
But then there's literally public record of this kid getting arrested for that and charged with crimes for it. So apparently, I can't see you.
They need to go under oath.
It didn't exist. But you know who covers this subject that Jonathan was just talking about really well is Abigail Schreier. Alex recently had her on her podcast, The Spillover. And if you haven't listened to that episode, best one I've heard so far. And I'm halfway through rereading her book right now. But it's so interesting that systematically the school system across the United States is trying to remove the idea of parents altogether, especially when it comes to this interest of gender. So what you're seeing in even the most unexpected places is that kids are being encouraged to erase their gender that they were born with because it was assigned to them, even as early as preschool or kindergarten, and then they're given entirely new identities and names without their parents' knowledge. So at school, they're called a name and gone by an identity, and maybe even on school trips, sleeping in bunkhouses of the opposite gender or using the opposite bathroom. But when they get sent home, it's like nothing ever happened.
Because they sign a paper.
And these teachers are telling the kids, your parents don't know what's best for you. Don't trust them. It's absolutely insane. And so you're seeing this obviously happen with this father in Virginia, just trying to protect his kid, as any parent should do. Now he's barred from attending any future school board meetings for his daughter's school district. He was arrested for even trying to say, hey, my daughter was put in severe danger at school in the bathroom because of some of these policies, but they don't care because they don't want parents to be involved in the first place.
And we actually have video of that we're going to show right now.
She's trying to disrupt things.
And that was from Human Events Daily with Jack Posobiec. So, I mean, Jack's obviously sharing this story too, and it's finding its way around the news because people need to know about this. It's discussing what's happening to our kids, and we actually have a photo of this father while he was getting arrested. Just
all
like you
because
said.
he wanted to protect his little girl at school.
Yeah.
The one place that he can't protect her because he drops her off every day and isn't allowed to be there.
And they shut that meeting down because parents wanted to just talk about what's going on in school.
Yep.
Yeah, you could hear in the background of that video too, like,
Somebody
she's just trying to disrupt, and these school boards are just ruling with an iron fist. And then we need more Jonathans. We need more people like this guy right here, just standing up. It's like, I don't care if I get arrested.
Yeah.
I'm protecting my daughter.
Yeah.
And not just protecting his daughter,
But
future students.
all kids everywhere. Yeah.
I guarantee that's not the only instance of that happening.
No, it's
when
probably
you
not.
hear about it, I promise you, it's probably happened before.
Yeah, I mean, how many kids are being encouraged not to tell their parents anything as we go back to the
there you
same
go.
conversation because their parents can't be trusted anymore? It's just so sickening to me that kids can't even go to school anymore. It's very sad.
And also, too, we definitely want to give a shout out to our school board watch list team. You can go to schoolboardwatchlist.org because they're sharing stories like this and so many others around the country. So actually, the National School Boards Association sent a lengthy letter to President Joe Biden, and in the letter, TPUSA and our school board watch list was mentioned. So this is the letter stated, I'll get through this quickly. NSBA believes immediate assistance is required to protect our students, school board members, and educators who are susceptible to acts of violence affecting interstate commerce because of threats to their districts, families, and personal safety. Blah, blah, blah,
So,
blah, blah.
we'll let your kid get raped in the bathroom, but don't you dare say that what we're doing is wrong because that's violence.
Yeah.
That's threatening us. Ridiculous.
Thank
I
God.
mean, it just does us a favor. It's an advertising thing for Turning Point.
Yeah, thank you.
And I think it's great. Hopefully it pushes more people to the schoolboardwatchlist.org because we're sharing stories like this. And thank God we have parents out there and people going to these school board meetings and teachers like Jonathan that are pushing back on CRT, just radical gender theory, and so much more. But in just 3 short minutes, we're going to tell you what California is doing with gender-neutral toy aisles and so much more. See you soon.
In these United States of America, this great country of ours, we American Indians, we can be anything we want to be, except American Indians.
A lot of the soldiers were very aggressive, so the women did get raped.
What we call muerte. Muerte means a place of suffering, dying, starvation, nothing good. Just like the Nazi concentration camps.
I didn't realize how corrupt things were. I didn't realize what kind of environment we were living in.
We had no running water, we had no power.
They de-incentivize people from, opportunity.
That's why our suicide rate has climbed up astronomical rates.
I moved from the poorest county in America, the Pine Ridge Indian Reservation, to the richest area in the country, the Navajo Indian Reservation. There is no difference. The poorest and richest reservations in our nation suffer from identical problems. This is not anything new. This is an everyday occurrence in all tribal governments.
So my life and my tale and my truth has been to fight socialism. And I'm hoping that I can wake up as many Navajos as I can to tell them that you can do this. Yeah, even if I have to fight you to save you. And I think that's what I'm also projecting to my people. Even though they are so harsh on social media and they completely hammer at me, I tell them, I'll be here even if I have to fight you to save you.
Welcome back to TPUSA Live. We have time for one last thing. Jonathan Koeppel is here. Isabel Brown. Morgan Zegers. Let's go. Rock on.
Go.
So, California, absolute mess.
Always, but
There's a
what's
reason.
new?
I think I'm going to move there and start a family. It'll be great.
Good one.
All right.
I feel really good in the leadership there.
Bring a lot of
Sorry.
guns.
Yeah, it's a tough place, but what they're doing right now, especially we've had so many conversations about how do we protect our kids, what's going on in schools, and then now Governor Gavin Newsom, he's back. He's out of the French Laundry and signing into law a mandate for large retailers to keep a gender-neutral aisle for children's toys. He's saying that the state law requires stores with 500 or more employees to maintain a gender-neutral section or area with children's items and toys. Isabel, I think you got some thoughts on this.
Yeah, I've talked about this a lot on the news and on social media this week. This is a very big story, obviously, because they're the first state to do something like this. What's interesting is it's not just toys, it's child care items. So that includes everything from Barbie dolls and G.I. Joes down to toothbrushes, which, unbeknownst to me, actually have a gender, apparently. And now we have to get rid of the gender of toothbrushes for kids. It's just another way that we're trying to erase individuality at the end of the day. And when you pick apart the policies of the left, they're so systematic in trying to erase anything that makes you unique. They want to put you into categories and groups. And the more they can do that, the easier it is to indoctrinate the next generation into believing whatever you want. We talked about a bit about that in the last segment with school boards. But this isn't the only crazy law about gender they signed into law this last weekend. They actually also mandated that tampons and menstrual products be present in every boys and girls bathroom at public schools.
Because boys menstruate? Is that what's going on?
We get pregnant now too.
Jonathan. Yeah. Actually, women don't exist, apparently.
Why
Only
are they
people
doing
who
this?
menstruate.
Like, let's just be real. I mean, you cannot menstruate as a man.
Correct, but now, yeah, it's erasing.
So what are they
men
trying to
and women.
convince
They're
boys
just
to
trying
stick a tampon up
conglomerate
their
you.
behind? Is that where we're at?
Yes, we'll find out.
I
But
don't
it's
know.
absolutely crazy. And so it's just, we're arriving at a point where it's the same people 5 to 10 years ago who were saying, oh, boys can play with Barbies and girls can play with G.I. Joes, who are now saying, actually, no, nothing can have a gender ever again. Dress in a burlap sack and have a genderless toothbrush, and you can never play with anything ever
And
again.
Superman
Blows my
all of a
mind.
sudden has a boyfriend.
Yeah,
Did we just
apparently.
see that?
Superman is now bisexual. It's huge news.
I don't know if you feel this way as like a woman, as a person with a uterus, Isabel.
A birthing person.
I always
Yes,
think it's
please.
fascinating that, like, women have to be erased, and we have to tell girls, like, you don't have to do gender stereotypical things. You don't have to have pink. You don't have to look at princesses, all this stuff. They get mad about the princesses on t-shirts in Target. Who knows? But then if a boy wants to say that they are a woman, what they naturally tend to do is like paint their nails and do all the feminine stereotypical stuff.
They want to be a
And they'll
girl.
put on like the fake wigs and these extravagant levels of makeup that I would never wear.
Which is encouraged. It's like cheered on, but if you're actually a
It's like the
biological girl,
stereotypical
you're not
fake woman
supposed to go into any gender stereotypes, which is so bizarre.
And it's like the sexualized aspects of being a woman that boys that think they're women want to take on. And I just feel it's like, why are we telling boys if you feel like you're a woman to do all the sexualized things that are like feminine and stuff? And none of it makes sense when you actually start breaking it down. And I feel kind of disrespected as a woman.
Oh, I absolutely
Because
do.
like childbirthing is hard. Periods are hard. All the girl
Yeah,
things
boys, if
can
you
be
want
difficult.
them, you can take them.
It's
Seriously,
impossible.
I
It's
don't
not
know
gonna
why
happen.
we
Can't
want
happen.
everybody to identify that way.
like
but
Speak for
men.
Jonathan and I think we're good. Yeah, I think we're good. But
I want to be respected for the struggles.
Yeah, exactly. I totally agree with
But the
that.
thing that's
Totally
great is this is not happening in Texas. There's not going to be a gender-neutral toy aisle. So Governor Greg Abbott, he actually came out with this tweet. He said, not in Texas. Not happening here.
God bless them down there.
It is
God bless
businesses,
Texas.
not government, that decide how they display their merchandise. Greg Abbott.
There we go.
keeps
So-
winning.
So I guess what he's saying is the government has no business in the affairs of a private entity.
Oh, I
Right?
love
Is that what he's
Shocking
saying?
revelation.
Do we have
Crazy.
privatization in America anymore?
No.
Do we?
Nope.
Do we? No. This
No.
is not the same America that our parents grew up in.
Full circle. Full
I'm
circle
getting
conversation
sick.
here.
I'm getting sick of this because it's just showing up in everything. The gender, the toys.
Yep.
And now the government is controlling businesses
Yeah.
and controlling our lives.
So what does that look like? Like for the toothbrushes, does that mean now we have to have like yellow gender
This is what I'm
neutral
saying.
toothbrush
Like,
colors?
and eventually it will become clothes.
It
too,
started
I'm
with
sure.
Teletubbies, 'cause you
are we
didn't know
literally
which
just
one
gonna
was
all
which.
look like Teletubbies?
That's probably what it's going to be
Because
like.
we're all fat.
I want
to.
to, before we keep going, I want to make sure we get to Legos too before we let everybody go.
Oh,
and I know
Legos.
this
I didn't
is
know they
this
had
is
genders in
specifically for
Legos.
Isabel. So the Lego Group has announced its plans to remove gender bias and harmful stereotypes from its products.
I didn't know Legos had genders, to be honest with you.
Yeah, look at that photo.
Amazing. So interesting. I loved Legos when I was growing up.
Menstruate. That's what we're being told.
Legos who menstruate, Legos with the cervix. I don't know.
They're
Here's
already
the good
yellow.
news, John. You too can now be protected from the gender of a Lego, but you can't be protected when you step on a Lego because that's where Legos actually hurt. So maybe we should be focused on that instead of, I don't know, assigning gender to a plastic building block. I don't know.
Priorities.
Go off, Isabel. Go off.
I love
but
that,
man, this has
Isabel.
been this has been a fun show. This has been totally off the wall. But Jonathan Koeppel, Morgan Zegers, Isabel Brown, thanks so much for being here. Thanks for tuning in. If you want to read some more about what we talked about today, go to tpusa.com/live feed. Also, make sure you get tickets for America Fest, tpusa.com/AmFest. Coming up next, we got Real America Rewind and Benny on the Block, Benny on the Border. See you tomorrow.
Yeehaw!
Oh, nice.
What a show, ladies and gentlemen.
Wait, you can't say.
This is your brain. This is your brain on socialism. Any questions?
The slave traders of our day, open to America, your children at risk, and creating a modern-day slave state inside of America. You want to see the true human crisis? You have it there. Little children, little kids.
Business is booming for the cartels.
Border officials keep saying that yes, the Mexican cartels control the border. They have sealed the northern border with Mexico, and no one goes through without their permission.
Never has there been a scene like what's happening at the border and the death that's being caused. This isn't just border, this is death and criminals pouring into our country.
People are suffering, people are dying, and the only ones benefiting are the criminal cartels.
These smugglers don't care. They cram these people in because the more people they can get in, the more it increases their bottom line.
Oftentimes, some of the people that are coming across, they have been exacted additional costs as they've come here, and they have been raped and tortured. And oftentimes they're threatened because the cartels know where they came from. They say that they'll go back for family members if they don't agree to pay additional funds or to come and work and go wherever they are asked or told to go.
Our show's most recent trip to the southern border revealed something horrifying to us, that the policies of the Biden administration is leading to the largest modern-day slave trade occurring right now on our southern border. EndSlaveryNow.org, a project with the National Underground Railroad Freedom Center, defines modern-day slavery as this: domestic servitude, sex trafficking, forced labor, bonded labor, forced marriage, and child labor. It says that there are 21 million to 45 million people trapped in some form of slavery today. Human trafficking makes up an enormous amount of modern-day slaves. When we spoke with border agents and border experts at the Yuma sector of the U.S. border, they told us that the vast majority of people coming into this country are coming as some form of sex trafficking, forced labor, or bonded labor. That's because the cartels take advantage of people's bodies and their desperation in order to cross into America. Because the cartels ostensibly control the entire U.S. border due to the lack of policing and enforcement of American border laws, the cartels determine who crosses through these sectors and into the United States. For payment, the cartel takes cash, but they also take sex slave and bonded labor, forced labor, with remittances being paid back to the cartels for years and years to come. This is creating a servant class or a slave class as defined by EndSlaveryNow.org inside of America. A group of people, hundreds of thousands and perhaps millions large, inside of this country who are defined as modern-day slaves, indebted to the cartels and indebting their bodies to evil interests that are against the American way of life.
Some of these cartels do have drone technology. They do have that type of intelligence, and they are watching Border Patrol officials here to know when to traffic both drugs and migrants over the border.
The people are being trafficked, they're being taken advantage of, and the drug trade, the illegal drugs coming across this border, have skyrocketed over 1,000%.
Has Yuma seen crime, theft, this kind of thing? Is it skyrocketing?
Yeah, everything is proportionate, right? You have more illegal activities in this area, and it perpetuates into other areas. They're taking advantage of the opportunity to traffic people, and they're fighting for control. We've got two different cartels fighting for control right here between this area and down by San Luis.
I read some numbers. Off the top of my head, I can't recall them, but it was like hundreds of millions that we were putting into the pockets of the cartels. Am I wrong? Is this like business is booming?
No, the business is booming for the cartels, right? Open the border, process people, and allow them to do their job in Mexico, trafficking individuals.
This is the industry. This is a huge industry.
This is the industry. Oh, it's a major.
$100 million?
So every person is paying between $6,000 and $10,000 to come across. Every person. Here in Yuma County, we're at over 700 people a day. Yuma sector, we're over 700 people today. You do the math. $700,000 a day, roughly, is what they estimate is being pocketed by the cartels as people are trafficked across the border every day.
So billions.
$700,000 a day just in Yuma.
Billions of dollars.
Yeah, it's a business.
To the most evil people in the world.
They don't care about people. They care about profits. They care about control. They care about the enslavement and being able to build whatever they're building upon those backs. It's the new slavery.
Completely allowed by, endorsed, in fact, by our U.S. government. In an industry created by the policies of the Biden administration.
Ir ahorita a Estados Unidos porque ya es más fácil con el presidente.
Por la nueva ley del presidente Biden.
So far, the White House has rescinded funding for the southern border wall, reinstated support for the Dreamers program, released a sweeping immigration reform bill, and begun processing cases for tens of thousands of asylum seekers being held in Mexico awaiting a judicial decision, allowing them to cross the border in phases.
You want to see what's really happening on your border, Sam? Here we are. How young are these kids? I got a 1-year-old. I think you got some 4-year-olds in there. We're just standing here and they go bolting through the opening in the border. There we go. You want to see the true human crisis? You have it there. Little children, little kids. In the middle of the day, it's hot as blazes out here. And they are just running across the border. One border security guard here to stop them. This is the absolute state of open borders at your border. This is what open borders looks like. This is what President Biden and Vice President Kamala Harris have done to the security in our country. This is human, the human cost.
What's your reaction to the images from the southern border? Get it under control. Get it under control, or you have it under control. We will get it under control.
What Joe Biden's administration has done is give child traffickers, trafficking as a whole, a green light to operate.
It is so important to understand how and why this forced sex trade and modern-day slave trade is happening on our southern border. It was a revelation to see exactly how this modern slave trade is occurring and what we must do to immediately stop it. The horrifying reality is that President Biden's administration is facilitating and, in fact, encouraging, allowing, and opening up American borders for the modern-day slave trade, as definitionally and functionally defined academically. Hundreds of thousands of forced laborers, bonded laborers, and children and women are being sex trafficked across our border by some of the most evil regimes and cartels in the world. They are ostensibly slaves when they get to America. They do not have the human rights or the documents or the capacity to fight back. They are indentured servants. It's an evil of our time. It certainly is one of the greatest evils we have ever witnessed, and we pray for its stoppage. The only way for it to stop is for us to stop the policies and for us to stop the movements that open our borders and allow for these evil people, these modern-day slave traffickers, to operate. Let's shut it down. Hey, it's Benny Johnson here, Turning Point USA's Chief Creative Officer. If you like this video you just watched, be sure to subscribe to the official Turning Point USA channel and never miss an episode. See you guys next week.
I'm filing a major class action lawsuit against the big tech giants, including Facebook, Google, and Twitter, as well as their CEOs.
It's Trump, the thumper.
Mark Zuckerberg, Sundar Pichai, and Jack Dorsey.
The hostile takeover of Donald Trump. Bam!
And I don't want to know what these cauliflower colonizers taste like.
Whoa! Talk about racism. Cauliflower? Okay.
If they're born in another country or they don't look like us, and God help us.
You know, you talk about the impact of that day. But you guys won. You guys held. You know, democracies.
I don't know about you, but that's some of the best acting I've ever seen. Give them their award, Jake.
You guys all talk about the effects you have to deal with, and, you know, you talk about the impact of that day. But you guys won. You guys held.
And are you committed to making sure that the troops stay until every American who wants to be out is out?
Yes. And if there's American citizens left, we're going to stay till we get them all out.
I think it's irresponsible to say Americans are stranded. They are not.
They are not. 90% of Americans in Afghanistan who wanted to leave were able to leave.
Wait a minute. What?
Ban abortions? Okay, cool. We're not having sex. Women are fine with this. No sex. Cool. That means no babies. Even better.
If I were a Texan, I would do a sex strike. I think the women should join together and say, go f*** yourself.
Good God, lady.
So Texas banned abortion, which means that I am not sleeping with my partner, and you shouldn't be sleeping with your male-identifying partner until they overturn it. We are on strike.
Quit sex. Don't have no more sex. Unless you are in a relationship and you're happy in it. If you are single, sleep with men, and or with a man that you know cheats on you and makes you miserable, get you a vibrator, invest in some erotica, you know, just retire the cat.
How are you, pal?
What's your name?
How old are you? Oh, you're getting old.
that right?
By the way, the neat thing about America, every time we end up with a problem, going into a serious circumstance, we come out better than we went in. That's because we're so diverse. That's America. Be proud of it. Thank you. And don't jump.
We meet this year in a moment of intermingled with great pain. We've lost so much to this devastating pandemic and global COVID response, vaccinating the world and building back better.
I'm so damn confused.
There is no planet blah, 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 blah. Build back better, blah, blah, blah. Green economy, blah, blah, blah. Blah, 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 blah. Words.
I would like an explanation to, people with vaccines. Why are they still getting COVID?
What did he just say?
If that's something that we are supposed to highly be protected from, it's funny that...
Check the prompter.
Oh, it reduces your chances of going to the hospital. It doesn't eliminate anybody from getting COVID.
Read the copy, please. The copy's good. Just read it.
That's all we have for this episode of Real America. We hope you enjoyed it. Make sure to check us out on Facebook and YouTube. And as always, I'm Graham Allen. And for those who can't, I'll say it for you. What's up, guys? Graham Allen here. If you like the video you just watched, be sure to subscribe to the official Turning Point USA channel to keep up with everything we've got going on now.
Hey everyone, it's Jon Root. Coming up next on TPUSA Live, tune into the newest episode of POPlitics, where host Alex Clark has some hot takes like country music is dead, she puts Vanderpump Rules star Brock Davies on blast, shares a special pop culture rewind, all this and so much more pop culture without the propaganda, next on POPlitics.
Good morning. Did you have a good nap? You did? Oh, what was that? I like your sleep shirt.
I love this baby, I want this baby, and I need this baby. Also, I look exactly like this when I wake up in the morning. I love my sleep shirts.
You might want to rethink the nightgown first. There's a whole Ebenezer Scrooge thing happening.
Oh, that's who I was thinking of.
You know what? I'll do it myself.
My best to Bob Cratchit.
I really hope that you have heard at least a song or two from Casey Musgrave's new album because there is some major drama brewing around it. Bravo, conservatives. This is your moment. What the heck are you thinking about Sheena Shea's fiance, Brock? Because I have some thoughts. As we wrap up on this season of Only Murders in the Building, don't cancel your Hulu subscription yet because I have another show that I'm obsessing over. And don't miss everything that happened this week in pop culture history with the Pop Culture Rewind. I'm Alex Clark, and this is POPlitics. Can we just take a moment for my spoopy set? How cool is this? Look at my little ghosties. Get yourself a little ghost boy, a ghost boy. I'm feeling more than a little justified to take down country music today. Who's with me?
Oh my God, why are we fighting about this?
Because, ambulance lady, Casey Musgraves has been robbed.
All right, gloves off. You want a piece of me?
According to Billboard, the Recording Academy has decided that Casey Musgrave's new album, Star-Crossed, is ineligible for Best Country Album at the 2022 Grammys. They've moved it to the Pop Vocal Album category instead.
That's just plain wrong.
You know the saying, even a clock with two heads gets it right 1% of the time.
Are you having a stroke?
Look, they're totally screwing Casey out of a Grammy. They scared. They knew she would totally sweep the Yeehaw category.
When I say yee, you say
How in the world is the majority of country music today even considered country? All of it is pop. Casey Musgraves is more country than Luke Bryan. True country fans know I'm right. The Boo boomers at the Recording Academy gots to go. They're all hard of hearing and have forgotten how to categorize music. I loathe award shows now. Everything is bought and paid for. I would rather watch that mom on Maid make out with her vacuum.
Clean the house now, people! I want this place looking like Disney on Ice in 1 minute. Harry, if you haven't made your bed, throw it away. It's too late to make it now.
What in the deadbeat dad is going on with Sheena Shea's fiance?
You know, some people have no willpower, no brains, no vision. They just drift through life like lumps of crap.
The Vanderpump Rules star told Lala Kent in Tuesday's episode that her Australian fiance, Brock Davies, hasn't spoken to his own kids in 4 years when he broke up with their mom and moved to America.
Can't have a conscience in the pimp game.
Brock Davies has 2 kids named Eli and Winter, and apparently told Sheena that he hasn't even FaceTimed them in 4 years.
Whoa, red flag.
In the episode, he defended himself by saying, me and my ex, we had 2 beautiful kids, we split up, and she felt like I abandoned her and the kids by coming to America. She moved on with the kid's stepdad, who then fulfilled the role of being a dad for my kids. Here's where it gets even weirder to me. Sheena and Brock had a daughter together and named her Summer, when his other daughter, who he abandoned, is named Winter. If they end up in therapy for having a reality star dad, will they just call it seasonal depression? Either way, I'm praying these abandonment issues aren't a trend like naming people seasons.
I'm gonna be real honest with you right now. This moment came to me in a dream.
To be transparent with you, I don't watch Bravo shows, so maybe I'm not being totally fair. If you're a Bravo conservative and you know Sheena and Brock super well, please weigh in, because right now he sounds awful.
It just makes me uncomfortable.
There is a new Home Alone movie in the franchise, and it's coming out November 12th. I just don't know how to feel. Ellie Kemper's in it, and allegedly Buzz and Macaulay Culkin will be too. It's called Home Sweet Home Alone.
'Twas the night before Christmas vacation. And the fun was in full swing.
You have split our family onto 2 separate flights.
Mom!
Max, please!
The family left for their big vacation,
Is that everyone? The cars are leaving now!
but forgot one little thing.
Mom? Dad? Uncle Blake? They don't even know I'm here. They don't even know I'm here.
Why are we even revisiting this premise in 2021? Does no one in the family have a smartphone? Are none of them in their neighborhood homeowners association? You're trying to sell us the idea that this kid doesn't just text or Snapchat another member in his family? He'd probably just TikTok the entire situation and go viral. Actually, a break-in would be the best case scenario because of the brand deals he'd get. Anyway, we all know this doesn't work in modern culture. Leave great movies alone. I'm sick of it!
Get out of here, you nosy little pervert, or I'm gonna slap you silly!
Oh, here we go. Get a load of this crap. Fast food chains are now having to send half of their corporate workers to work in the kitchens because they can't hire enough staff.
Mom, can we stop at McDonald's? Jessica, I'm making dinner at home. I hate this family.
Raising Cane's is sending out 500 of their 750 corporate workers to the streets to sling some chicken and crack some heads. I imagine that will go something like this.
Is it true that you can leap over a chair from a standing position?
It depends on the size of the chair. I'll cheat a little bit.
Yes!
Damn, it feels good to be a gangster.
There are 2 million more unemployed people now than there were pre-pandemic. Some of them probably won't come back to work because they're making more on unemployment, and the other ones more than likely refuse to get the jab of the hut.
Okay, describe yourself in 3 words. Hungry, annoyed, fat.
Okay, sidebar, just because I'm in the mood to throw hands, you know Raising Cane's is better than Chick-fil-A, right? Last night, I started a brand new show on Hulu called Dope Sick that I am obsessed with because the OxyContin Big Pharma crap is so fascinating to me. I think that in the last year, I've watched like 10 documentaries on the subject.
I know most people don't think about us up there in the mountains. Many of my patients are miners. It's dangerous work, and they carry the burden of building this nation on their backs. They're in pain. These people, my people, trusted me. I can't believe how many of them are dead now. We began looking
looking at something that could be big.
OxyContin.
Purdue Pharma, they've been marketing the drug as something that's non-addictive when it clearly is.
All your doctors are going to be asking, how is this even possible? Your most effective talking point are these magic words.
Less than 1%.
Less than 1%.
Less than 1.
Less than 1.
They told me that less than 1% would become addicted.
The opioid crisis is something that I really do want to learn more about. The fact that the whole thing was basically concocted as a means to make money is truly the ultimate true crime story, and not surprising.
Are you on drugs or alcohol?
No, sir.
Do you take drugs or alcohol?
What is drugs?
Actually, if any conservatives do nonprofit work that fights the opioid epidemic or big pharma or knows someone who does, please let me know in the comments. I'd love to investigate more on an episode of The Spillover or a pop doc, so tell me what you think.
Drugs.
No, we're okay.
Drugs.
This is awkward. No, thank you.
Drugs.
Who invited?
It is Thursday already, Little Friday. You know what that means, right, little hamster? Let's take a little trip and see what happened this week in pop culture history with the Pop Culture Rewind. This week in 1692, the Salem witch trials ended via a letter from Massachusetts Governor William Phips. He was like, you know what? Maybe burning chicks at the stake and accusing them of being witches because you don't like them is a little extreme. We should probably cut that out. Good call, dude.
I'll get you, my pretty, and your little dog, too.
This week in 1793 was a bad time to be Marie Antoinette. The widow of Louis XVI was guillotined at the height of the French Revolution. The phrase, let them eat cake, is often attributed to Marie, but there is no evidence she ever said it.
I'm afraid the Queen has a somewhat artistic temperament.
It's not too much, is it?
Oh, no.
In the year 2000 this week, Curb Your Enthusiasm premiered on HBO, one of my absolute favorite shows.
No.
In 2001 this week, one of the first old companies to fall behind in the digital era, the Polaroid Corporation, filed for federal bankruptcy protection.
There's a piece of the sun in Polaroid's new sun camera so you don't drag people out in the sun to take pictures.
I don't have to stand there and squint.
Nope, it's a new system.
Why waste a shot in this light?
We turned bad light into good pictures. Didn't waste that shot. You've never been so sure of an instant picture.
Perfect. But isn't it expensive?
No, but wasting film in bad light is. Besides, you never buy flash or extra battery.
And then this week in 2007, an icon was born. Keeping Up with the Kardashians premiered on E! And our culture was never the same.
All right, we're ready.
No. You're right here.
The wind, you guys? Is this necessary?
Go change.
Awful. No, that is not cute.
Yeah, go.
I need someone to make me laugh.
Where's Kim?
Kim is always late. I'm here.
Get out of our way.
Stop. Jealous.
Enough.
Stop!
Enough.
That's it, we're done.
And that's what happened this week in pop culture history. We are legit hours away from the new episode of The Spillover on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. Tomorrow you can watch the episode on TPUSALIVE and POPlitics' YouTube channel. The answer to who the guest is comes tonight at 9 p.m. Eastern, and the episode drops at midnight Eastern. All I can tell you is that this episode is more on the political side, I guess. It's all about how you debate a certain topic with a very cool and very special expert. It's gonna be an episode that you go back to time and time again just to memorize everything and have it in your back pocket every time you want to change someone's mind. Okay, have I said too much?
We love you so much. We're so proud of you. But you need to shut up.
As much as we love The Spillover, don't forget that it wouldn't exist without the OG, POPlitics, and we are still on the road to 100K. Help us get there by liking this episode, as always. And there are a few things I want to know today. One, if you've been personally affected by the opioid epidemic, please share your story in the comments if you're willing to. Also, does Casey Musgrave's new album belong in the country or pop category? DM this episode to one friend who is a potato and tap the save button. We're back tomorrow at 4 p.m. Eastern, 1 p.m. Pacific. Before I go, though, please look at this. Try not to cry. Big worms don't cry. It's pop culture without the propaganda every single day. I'm Alex Clark, and this is POPlitics. Support POPlitics, the first ever conservative pop culture daily show, by subscribing to our channel, turning on notifications, and of course, hitting the thumbs up. Also, our main home is on Instagram. Seriously, just trust me, that's where the real magic happens. Follow us there at POPlitics.